I'm Jamie, the creator of My Starry Chart, and I'm here with Caron Irwin of Roo Parenting. We actually have some more questions about how to use My Starry Chart from the My Starry Squad, parents and families who have asked us, emailed us, DM'd us with questions. So we have a couple of them here. So Jessica, she has a 5-year-old son, asks, what if my son doesn't get their star for the day? How do you suggest I communicate that in a positive and healthy way?
So I think that you use it as a reminder. So you say to your child, you can point out the obvious, buddy, we didn't get like some of our chores done today. The toys are still all over the playroom and your dishes are still on the table. But you know what? I bet if we do it together today, tomorrow you'll be able to do it on your own, which will help you get your stars. So I think you use them as a reminder, but then you provide some sort of constructive way for them to achieve the task, maybe with your support, so then they can be successful tomorrow.
Great. And Matthew, he has a 4-year-old daughter, asks, how can I avoid bribing or threatening stars? Am I using this tool properly? Because he finds he's falling into that bribe, do this and you'll get a star, or you're not being polite, I'm gonna take away your star, that kind of,
Right, so we want to make sure that we reserve the stars to positively reinforce the great behaviors and the completion of the expectations that we have. One of the reasons why we don't want to use them as a bribe or a threat is it's going to lose its momentum and steam, because your kids are just going to be like, oh, they're just bribing or threatening me again with this, like it doesn't really matter, and it will lose its weight, so it's not going to be helpful to you. What I would actually recommend you do is, if we use the example of them not being polite, and one of the goals is to change their behavior and help them be more polite. If, for example, if your child asks for a glass of milk and they say, give me a glass of milk, we wouldn't say, I'm not going to give you a star because you didn't ask me nicely. What I would actually recommend you do is, in the moment, you qualify that the way they asked you isn't appropriate, and you prescribe, you give them suggestions of how they could change the behavior to ask you more politely. So you'd say, sorry buddy, that hurts my feelings when you asked me for the milk that way, but I bet if you try again and use some nice words, I'll be much more happy to get that milk for you. What you're doing there is you're teaching and giving your kid the skills, which then hopefully they're going to use and become a habit. And then what you do is they say, Mom, could I please have the milk? You give them the milk. You say, yeah, thanks for asking nicely. I bet you're going to do that later on today, and then we can get some more of our stars. That's what I would do.
Great. One question, actually it's from me, because Sam tends to do this sometimes with My Starry Chart stars, is negotiation tactics. So he's like, oh Mom, I helped my brother out. Sometimes we award bonus stars. So he's like, can I get a bonus star? And so how would you handle that situation?
Yeah, so I don't use them don't negotiate with them. I would actually celebrate, like, with your words, like, that's awesome that you helped your brother. I can't wait to see you do that again, and maybe I'll catch you and we'll be able to have a bonus star. That's how I would deal with that. Right,
that makes a lot of sense. And another question from a mom, at what age do you start using My Starry Chart? What do you recommend the age be?
Yeah, so obviously children all develop at different rates, but I think that around the age of 3 you could start using My Starry Chart, but I think you need to remember that you have, like I was saying earlier about best practices, is that definitely if they're 3, you might only have 1 or 2 expectations or chores or behaviors that you're trying to change, so that it's attainable. Because if you have too many, your young child's going to get very lost and lose interest in it. So keep the chores and expectations at a minimum.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this really practical, solid advice. I think you've helped a lot of parents in terms of how to use this successfully.
Keep sending in your questions. Maybe we'll do it again.
I think we should do it again. So let's send us your questions. You can always DM at My Starry Chart on Instagram, or give us an email at hello@mystarrychart.com, and we'll be sure to answer your questions and get you and your family set up for success.
Great.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.